Hey everybody, Super Doug back again. Today I'm going to share with you the keys to hitting a comic convention like a pro. Hey everybody. So I've been hitting up comic conventions for over 30 plus years now. I've been going to WonderCon since back in the day when it was still up in Oakland and San Francisco. And then in high school, my mom was super cool. She used to drive me all the way down to San Diego so I could hit up San Diego Comic Con back in the mid 90s. And then I loved it so much I went down there to college. So I used to hit up San Diego all 4 days for years and years. I've been up to Seattle, Emerald City Comic Con up in Seattle, Rose City and Portland, and everything in between along the West Coast. So all those years of me going to comic conventions, I think I've learned a few little things that I think I would share with everybody to help you guys out so you can have the best day possible. Now, I'm not saying this is for everybody who goes to cons. My focus kind of is comic book buying and shopping. So this is kind of what my system is built for. Still can apply just having a fun day overall. But if you're in like the statues maybe or different things, you might be able to just add a few different things. But this should be a good basis for you. Let's start with the backpack itself, right? So as a comic dude, there is a really cool backpack that Jim Lee came out with a few years ago, and a friend of mine actually gave me one. It was super cool, and I've tried it out a few times. And this is the Jim Lee backpack that's specifically designed for comics, and it has some really cool features. Like inside, it has these specific little envelopes that are the exact size, I think, for CGC graded books, which is pretty cool if you're into graded books. I'm not, but they still can hold all your books. One of the features I really like about this is it has a water bottle holder on the side, which is key, and then this strap, which is nice for your poster tubes, right? So it's a really good backpack, and it's really focused on comics, but it's not exactly focused on comfort for the person wearing it. So that's why I don't really use this for a longer than a few hours comic convention. It's fun to use, but when I'm going to go for like a real hard day, I'm going to go for 3 or 4 hours or multiple days like I do when I go out of state sometimes, I take this backpack. Now, this is a backpack I got free from work, actually, but I cannot recommend it enough, or something that just has these features, okay? Not this one specifically, but I'll tell you the features that make it so good. It's a North Face backpack itself, but I found them at the North Face outlet, and you can get them for like 40 or 50 bucks when they're on sale. What I think is the best part about the backpack is the ergonomic things it has. So if you can see these straps, they're kind of like curved. For some reason, this just makes it so easier to carry a heavy load. If you get a bunch of books, comics are heavy, they're paper, and you can get these, and if the same weight of comics in this backpack versus that Jim Lee one, night and day. This is so much better. So look for something that has these ergonomic straps, as well as this padded venting on the back. I don't know if you can see it, but it's got these pads and this venting on it. For some reason, it keeps you cooler. I don't know how it works so well, but it really does. It makes a huge difference. So these are the things that I really like and makes this backpack for a successful day when you go comic shopping. Now, it has 2 chambers, which is kind of, important. Got this big chamber on top where I keep my books, your large chamber. Then it has your smaller chamber so I can keep all my smaller things that I get, maybe action figures or, buttons, stuff like I like to get like that. Keep that in there. That way they're not in there messing up my books. And in the smaller chamber, I keep my accoutrement, that I think is important to having a fun day. Let's talk about a few of those things that I recommend. The first thing I think that's the most important for me is a paper comic list. So I have an application on my phone, an app called CLZ. That's for my database. I'm not like advertising or anything, but it's really cool. It's like 99 cents a month. If you're really into keeping your database, so you can create want lists on it and stuff. But I always just use that information and transfer it to a paper list when I go to conventions or even comic shops for a long day. A couple different reasons I like the list. One is if you see the list, the vendors, usually they'll know you're going to be in business. Guys got a list looking to buy some books, right? So if they see you got a list out, they generally strike up a conversation with you. They'll say, hey, what can I help you look for? You can tell them. And sometimes they'll, offer you deals. They just see you kind of more of a serious guy versus just a browser, right? One of the main reasons I like the list is I don't want to leave my phone. If I have my phone out looking through my list on my phone, I'm always afraid I'm going to leave it on a box. Somebody might snag it, or I just might leave it there and forget it, right? So I'm always kind of afraid of that. I'd rather not lose $1,000 phone. I'd rather lose a, 4-cent piece of paper. I can always just recreate this list based on my application. The other reason that I use it, which is important too, is I don't want a bunch of germs. I don't like touching those. You touch those books all day long, and you touch your phone all day long. It's kind of gross for me. So I also bring along a bottle of hand sanitizer. Not that I'm like a crazy, germaphobe, but comic conventions are just nasty. There's called cron crud for a reason. You get sick half the time you go to a comic convention, and those bags are gnarly, right? A thing that goes along with the list that's important is to have a pen. Mark them off as you go. I go to one booth, buy some books, I go to the next, I put them in my bag and I mark them off. That way I don't get doubles. My short-term memory is not what it used to be. There's nothing worse than buying a book that you already have. That's another comic you could have bought instead with that money, you know, so that's how I always look at it. So I always keep that pen handy. Another thing for an old person, like I said, I'm not the youngest, person in the world. So I do always keep a little thing of Tylenol or Excedrin with me. When you're at those conventions, sometimes you go hard. You don't drink as much water as you probably should. So sometimes I get a headache. So I always definitely want to keep some headache medicine or something in the bag. It's come in handy so many times, trust me. Even though I'm not on my phone all day long looking up lists and stuff, you do use your phone quite a bit when you're out all day. Taking pictures and whatnot takes a lot of juice on your phone. So I always do just keep an extra battery in my backpack. Always make I charge it the day before, so make sure it's fully charged. But this has come in so handy quite a few times. I don't want to be the guy sitting against the wall charging my phone, for a while, sitting in the hard concrete charging that phone. It's taking away time that I can use, shopping for books. And in the backpack itself, I do have one key feature that I want to talk about. So I don't just put my raw books. I like raw books. I don't really buy too many graded, but even so, if I had graded, I don't just want to stick raw books in the backpack itself. So what I do is I create a little box that I slide into my backpack. And it's just the dumbest thing ever, but it's so handy. It's my favorite comic convention hack. I just take a box that I get from Amazon or whatever, and one that fits my comics pretty well, right? Doesn't make my backpack super bulky. I just cut the top off it like this, and then I just slide it down in my backpack. This adds just another layer of protection for my books, We spend a lot of money on books. We all know how condition is key. So I generally just take a box like this, cut the top off, and then I'll slide it on in here. There. Now it keeps my book extra layer of protection, in addition to just the backpack. So those are just my basics. There's other things that I keep in here, lighters, stuff like that, just for myself, my personal reasons. But this is kind of universal for anybody who's going to be gone at the conventions all day long. So hopefully you guys can use some of these tips. Hopefully it helps you have a great day at a comic convention, and hopefully I'll see you there.